Welcome to the official SnapClip installation video. If you've already purchased your SnapClip suspended ceiling system, congratulations! You're just a few steps away from installing a do-it-yourself ceiling. If you're still considering a purchase, hopefully this video will show you just how easy and fun a SnapClip project can be. If at any time you have additional questions not covered in this video, help is always at hand. For your convenience, this video is divided into chapters you can access at any time by clicking this link. Now, get ready to clip, snap, and slide your way to a beautiful ceiling. Here are the items you'll need to complete your SnapClip project: a measuring tape, a pencil or marker, a chalk line, an electric drill, 1/2-inch panhead wood screws, 1.5-inch drywall screws, a miter box and handsaw or circular saw, eye protection, a utility knife and straight edge, a sandpaper block, and finally, color-matched silicone and masking tape. Measure each part of your ceiling and cut your J-mold to size using a handsaw and miter box or circular saw. Whenever using power tools, remember to use eye protection. Cut the J-mold using inside or outside cuts to match the corners of your ceiling. To ensure accurate cuts, always make sure the part you are cutting is tightly secured to the back fence of the saw. Since anything other than a perfect joint will show the color of the wood under the painted surface, it's a good idea to paint the edge of each miter cut with latex paint that matches the color of your molding. If any of the corners in your room are not perfectly clear or square, feel free to shave off a thin edge of your miter cut as necessary. Place J-mold pieces flush against the joists and fasten them with drywall screws spaced approximately 12 to 16 inches apart. Keep cutting and installing J-mold until you finish covering the perimeter of your ceiling. For a professional finishing touch, use masking tape and color-matching silicone to fill in any gaps in the joints. Measure the width of your ceiling along the widest joist in the room. Divide your measurement by 2 to calculate the half width. If the number of feet is odd, then the half width is your correct center point. If the number of feet is even, add 1 foot to your measurement. Doing this simple calculation automatically guarantees that the tiles closest to the walls will end up being wider than 6 inches for a nice aesthetic look. Once you've determined the correct center point, measure and mark it on the 2 joists closest to the walls. Use a chalk line to mark the center point on every other joist in between. Use the line in the center of a joist clip as a guide to drill a screw in the middle. Place the screw on a center point marking and screw in the clip so that it is perpendicular to the joist. Repeat this process on every center point marking. Accurate placement of joist clips is crucial, so take special care when centering your clips on the chalk line. Installing the rest of your joist clips is easy. Simply attach a joist clip on the included SnapClip spacer tool. Fit the empty end of the tool onto a previously drilled joist clip and drill in the new clip. Using the SnapClip spacer tool is an absolute must, since it's the only way to guarantee proper alignment of the SnapClip system. To prepare your SnapClip rails for installation, add enough slide clips to match the number of joist clips the rail will mount on, plus 1 extra clip for each end. This usually works out to 7 joist clips per full 8-foot rail. Once again, you can use color-matching latex paint to cover the edges for a nicer finish. Mount SnapClip rails by centering a slide clip under a joist clip, and then pushing up on the rail until both parts snap together. If for some reason you should need to separate both clips, simply move the slide clip out of the grasp of the joist clip. When cutting rails to size, subtract 1/8 of an inch from your measurement. This gap will allow the rails to expand if required due to seasonal changes in humidity. If a cut leaves any rough edges, use a sandpaper block to smooth them out. To connect two rails together, center a slide clip over the joint. Slide clips can also be used to create a tab to rest over J-molds. To install a tile, simply tilt it up and then rest it between two rails. Now, slide it so it rests flush against the J-mold. Next, insert a T-bar. Once again, simply tilt the part into place and then slide it flush. If there's a particular wall you would prefer to have full-sized tiles on, start at that end. Once you reach the opposite wall and can no longer install a full tile, measure the gap between the last T-bar and J-mold. If the gap is less than 6 inches, you will need to trim the first tile in the row to compensate. In this example, the first tile in the row measures 24 inches, while the gap measures 4 inches. If a symmetrical look is desired, it can be achieved by trimming 10 inches off the first tile. If you have a light or any ceiling fixture you can't reposition, you should install your first row of alternating tiles and T-bars between a set of rails directly beside that fixture. This way, you'll know where your fixture aligns relative to your T-bars. Should it align on or too close to a T-bar, you can cut the first tile in the row to adjust accordingly, thereby making sure your fixture ends up properly centered on a tile for the best aesthetic look. To cut a tile, mark the amount you want to trim and then run a utility knife along a straight edge until you can break off the excess. After you are satisfied with the look of your first alternating row, install the rest of your full tiles and T-bars. Once you reach the opposite wall, measure the distance from each T-bar to the J-mold and add 3/4 of an inch to your measurement. This accounts for the edges of the tile that will rest above your T-bar and J-mold. For easier installation of the last tile in a row, remove the T-bar, place the tile, and then put the T-bar back into place. The final step is to install the last rows against the walls. Measure the gap between the rail and J-mold, starting at one end of the room. Mark and cut your tile by this measurement, remembering to add 3/4 of an inch to account for the edges that will rest above your rail and J-mold. Next, mark and cut your T-bar to size, making sure to measure your T-bar starting on the edge of the finished side, not the unfinished tab. As always, use color-matching latex paint to cover your cut edges for best results. By trimming a T-bar, you lose one of the tabs, but you can easily recreate one by using a slide clip. If you need to trim a slide clip to fit, use a miter box and hacksaw. A handsaw or circular saw should not be used, as they will shatter the plastic edges. Another way to add a tab to a T-bar is to add 3/8 of an inch to the piece you cut, and then cut the finished surface 3/8 of an inch in with a handsaw and miter box until you can break off the top, revealing a new tab underneath. Keep adding trimmed tiles and T-bars until you finish filling in the rest of your ceiling. Unless your room is perfectly square, it's important to remeasure every gap along the wall. Congratulations! You've now completed your SnapClip project. If you have any questions or would like more information about SnapClip products, please call or email us.